Hi and good morning. So there's a couple things that I wanted to talk about today because I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that might not make sense to a lot of people that aren't in the amount of fandoms that I'm in. So I wanted to talk about a couple things that happen during a series, or it can happen not just in books, but basically in like shows as well, because I'm a part of some fandoms that are show related, movie related, what have you, but most of them, the majority of them, are book related, because I do spend most of my time reading. And so I wanted to talk about a couple things that I'll probably be saying a lot that if you aren't a part of these, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. So I wanted to talk about today what I consider a mourning period. So, the best way that I can give an example of a mourning period is what happened to me after I read the last Harry Potter book, and then again, what happened after the last Deathly Hallows movie came out. So, God, I can't even remember the year the Deathly Hallows book came out. I do remember though that when the last book came out, there was this big thing online because someone had like taken pictures of all the pages of the Deathly Hallows book and posted it in a BitTorrent online. And of course, I'm like 21. I think I was like 21, maybe 22. Probably 22. I most definitely was 22 because I was living in Texas at the time. So I was 22, and what do you think I did? Obviously I downloaded it because it was so, can't even explain Harry Potter to, I can't, it's just, I get scared when I meet people that are Harry Potter fans, and then I don't know what to do because I don't know if I should unleash my full my full fanaticism on these people by Harry Potter. There's only a few people that really know the depth and the crazy that goes in my Harry Potter fan. Like, I guess it's just crazy. If you look over here, my friend Kaylee and I are standing in between the Phelps twins who play the Weasley twins in the movies, and I'm super pregnant in that picture, and with my son. I was super pregnant with my son. It's like about 6.5 months pregnant. And I was miserable the entire time, but that's the whole reason why I went to con that year, was to meet the twins. And it was so funny. I cosplayed as Khaleesi, a pregnant Khaleesi that year, and but I met the twins, and it was glorious. And I almost went into labor in line because I was so excited. It was crazy. But anyways, I'm like going off on tangents. I do this a lot. I'm sorry. But anyways, I read the book in that format, this pictures of pages. So like once you get towards like a certain part of the book, like you're missing part of the page because it's literally like a photocopy of these pages. So like, and the book is so thick and so big, so I'm missing parts of it, but I still kind of like do it. And I do remember like how upset I was. I remember crying at one point because it was like right at the point where he goes into the Forbidden Forest and he realizes that he has to die, and it's so sad, and I started crying, and I was like, oh my god, there's only like 2 chapters left, like what happens? It's only like, what's going on? Why are there only like 2 or 3 chapters after this? It was bad. But I went through a mourning period, and I couldn't read another book for a very long time. It actually, the mourning period of Harry Potter was the worst one that I've ever had for a book series or a book or characters in that in general. And I couldn't read another book for a very long time just because every single time I picked up a book, I was like, this isn't Harry, this isn't my Ron. Why did one of the twins have to die? Like, come on, like, why does this have to happen to me? Like, I've been reading these books for like 10 years, what's going on? So, I mean, it was rough. And then it happened again after the last Deathly Hallows movie came out. I felt so bad for my girlfriends that I went and saw this movie with. So I have two girlfriends that I went to the Deathly Hallows, or to, I think it was just the Deathly Hallows movies because I just moved back, and they're actually my Twilight moms, and we go to Forks every summer. But that's another story for another time. I was hyperventilating, like, because we went to a double showing, so for the last Deathly Hallows movie, so it went from Deathly Hallows Part 1 into Deathly Hallows Part 2, and I was sobbing so uncontrollably. The guys that were sitting next to me kept asking me if I was okay, and I went and saw the Deathly Hallows movie quite possibly every day, sometimes twice a day, for a good, like, 2 to 3 weeks, because I couldn't accept that it was over, and I was so depressed and I couldn't get out of bed, and it was horrible. But since then, my morning periods aren't as bad, but they do happen. And the most recent morning period that I've had for a book series is actually the Vampire Academy books. I was so against reading the Vampire Academy books because of the name alone. And I was like, oh, is it going to be as bad as Vampire Diaries? Because I love the Vampire Diaries show, but the books are just blah. They're awful. I just, no. But, so, I was like, maybe, maybe not. And then I found out that the second book takes place in Spokane, and Spokane is where I live. And I was like, yeah, I'll give these books a shot. So I read them. And I read all 6 books, because there's 6 books in the series. I read all 6 books. 2 days. I didn't sleep. Nothing. I read them all straight through. And I remember being up after the last book and just going, what? What am I going to do? It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. My son's going to be up in 2 hours. And when you're in this state of the morning period, this is where it gets tricky. The morning period of a book, because if you're anything like me, you'll either A, reread the books over again, which I kind of did. I only reread the last book. And then B, fan fiction. When you dive into the world of fan fiction, things get a little crazy, because not only do you want to read about your OTP, which is one true pairing. For anyone that doesn't know what OTP means, it means one true pairing. So it can mean any characters for you. You can have your own OTPs, or you can love the OTPs of the books, and you can love the canon OTPs. And canon, when you hear me say canon in these videos, it basically is the story. It's canonizing the story, everything that actually happens. It's canon. So, like, I'm obsessed with Romitri in the Vampire Academy books, and which is Rose and Dimitri, and that's canon, and they're the end game. Like, that's basically it. So, I mean, yeah. So I have my own OTPs, but generally I do stick with the actual story OTPs. Like, I don't have too many of my own. Although when I was reading the Shatter Me books, don't get me started on Warner. But so, I mean, that's also one thing. So when you go into dive into this fan fiction world, not only are there people that love your OTPs, but they have their own, and sometimes they get a little scary. And, you know, I'm not trying to say that fan fiction is bad, because it really isn't bad. It lets people, you know, be write and read about the characters that they love, and the book series are over. But sometimes there's like a couple different kinds of fan fiction. There's like fluff and then there's not fluff, and sometimes fan fiction like actually makes me blush, because sometimes it can be very graphic. And I read romance novels, and romance novels are super graphic, and they don't make me like as uncomfortable as some fan fiction does. So I mean, there's that world that you can go into when you're in a morning period, your fan fiction. But I generally stick with my original OTPs that are in the story, so I kind of just end up rereading the books. And sometimes when you get into that fan fiction aspect of the morning period, you can't get out, and it's really hard, and sometimes you just gotta wait it out. wait it out until you find another book that, or just give yourself some time to like get over the characters so that you can move on to another book series or another book. And the way that I did that was I read Bloodlines, which is a Vampire Academy like spin-off. So, and then I now am into a series that isn't finished. So I will be waiting until July for Silver Shadows to come out, which is the next Bloodlines book, but I'll go into Bloodlines another time because I love those books too. And then, God, what was the last one I wanted to talk about? So there's OTPs. Oh, shipping. Okay, so you'll hear me talk about shipping a lot. And this is one thing that I feel like every fangirl has a problem with, and it's shipping. Because I ship things so hard, and it's ridiculous. I fangirl so hard over books, it's ridiculous. Like sometimes like I think it's ridiculous kind of. Because I have friends that fangirl as hard as I do, but not for like characters and books. It's mainly like I have a lot of friends that are like obsessed with Tom Hiddleston. Because I mean, who isn't? But super into Tom Hiddleston, but Loki Tom Hiddleston and freaking Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch? Sherlock? There we go. Sometimes I want to call him Benjamin Cumberbatch because I can't remember his Benedict. But so, I mean, I have friends that like are hardcore like shipping these dudes, but I don't ship a single person. I ship people. I ship like relationships, and I ship the book, and I ship the series. And I guess the best way that I can explain what ship means is when you are part of a fandom, you get carried away because so many other people are as into these things as you are. And I have to hold on a minute because someone finished his breakfast. But hold on. Oh wait, no, he's done. Okay, so when you are part of a fandom and you dive into this fandom, sometimes you get carried away on a ship. The sales go up. And I guess another way to say it is it's like worship. It's like that's how I saw it at first. Because a lot of these things were new to me a couple years ago when I started my first Tumblr, and I was like, yeah, I love these characters. What does ship mean? What does this mean? What's going on? Because that's when I remember getting into like the Hunger Games like fandom on Tumblr, and everyone being like, "Ooh, I ship Gale, I ship Gale and Peeta, Gale and Peeta." Like what? I ship Gale and Peeta. That's cool. I ship Peeta and Katniss. But, you know, whatever. So you find out about all these things. And, so there's that. And I do talk about some fandoms a lot. And, I have a very active book Tumblr. And it basically, like, I'll just relog a bunch of things about a book that I just read. And then you'll see that like the next day it's completely different. But it's been pretty constant with Vampire Academy, and I'm actually going to talk about Vampire Academy in another video. I think I might actually do that right now. Talk about why I love Vampire Academy and why you should too. But another time. But so there's that. So if you ever wonder what I'm talking about, you don't know, feel free to ask. If I say something you're like, what does that mean? Because I do speak in fandom, speak a lot. And, yeah, but for the most part, I just keep it to those things. Shipping, OTPs, canon, and mourning period. So, so, it's cool. I'm almost starting. I still talk about these things. Whatever. Alright, so there's that. See ya.